A to the K.
To the K.
To the K.
Coming up tonight on the Ringside Report. We have an update on Raw potentially moving to a TV-14 rating.
We confirmed that Ric Flair's opponents for his final, this time final match are revealed.
Goldberg reveals he is still under a WWE contract.
Yay. AQA announces she's stepping away from pro wrestling.
Former WWE superstar Paige potentially headed to AEW.
Brandi Rhodes is hoping for an in-ring return, and the fans are not.
And Kenny Omega potentially set to return at All Out. Anthony, when's all this coming up?
It's all coming up right fucking now.
Yes, it is.
Whoa. We have a shorter week for news this week, Carl.
Shorter week? It is, which typically means that tonight, after we've already recorded this, all the news will happen, as tends to be the case.
All the news will happen.
All the news. But let's go with what we've got, shall we? So,
do it, bitch.
You may have heard that Andrew Zarian of the Mat Men podcast reported that Raw would be going to a TV-14 rating as early as the Raw just gone on July 18th. Now,
but he didn't report it as early as we did. Because we predicted it.
How weird was that, actually? So yeah, if you caught our What If from last week, with obviously What If Vince McMahon retired, we discussed that very thing, and then what do you know? Maybe he just watched our show and was like, yeah, that's probably going to happen.
That sounds like
yeah, but so he reported it was potentially going to happen as early as the Monday just gone, and it didn't. But further information came out that it's still very much the plan for the not too distant future, and the reason for the false alarm was a memo got released within the USA Network that went out to everybody saying that Raw was going to change, but apparently that was sent out prematurely and the actual date had not been finalised. So apparently it's still set to happen. There's no mention of SmackDown on Fox, what impact that's going to have, whether that's going to change, whether it's still going to be PG. But yeah, so it looks like we still are going to get a TV-14 rating for Raw. How does it make you feel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I'd be curious to see what they're going to do with it, but I just feel like, now we can make the blood red instead of black when Edge comes back, and maybe we can say fuck here and there. I don't know what the actual intent is here, but I'm glad that they're not bound by the let's be kid-friendly approach. So, as we discussed in the What If, Carl, it'd be a good move to have. I assume it's only been Raw so far, and they haven't actually said anything about SmackDown.
No, literally just Raw so far.
So this is pretty much exactly as we were trying to predict, where yeah. Raw could be the grittier TV-14 product, and SmackDown could be more of what we've got as the modern era WWE, PG friendly, etc. And I think that would be a good balance if that's what they do. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing for me is if you think about what it means for a TV-14 rating, is I don't think we're going to see necessarily loads more violence. I don't think we're going to be seeing unprotected headshots and blood every week. I think it's probably going to be a change to the nature of the storylines and the kind of
I think you're right about the nature of the storylines, but I do think, whilst I don't think it's going to be, like you say, more headshots or anything like that, I do think when you get segments like Edge, they will actually be able to use blood that looks like blood. It's not going to be real blood, but at least it'll actually look like blood now.
Yeah.
So just little things like that, and like you say, the stories can be a bit edgier and the language can be a bit edgier.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's not been very compelling television at all, as it for the longest amount of time, because the storylines or lack thereof are very much like, well, you said something bad about me, and I don't like what you said about. So it's very much like playground type arguments, isn't it?
Well,
so
if they keep SmackDown PG, Roman's just going to be on both shows, just jumping up and down on that, isn't he? He'd be going over to Raw, fuck these guys, and then going back to SmackDown, yeah, sod those guys. It'd be weird.
I would give me anything to see Roman Reigns say sod these guys, please.
Yeah, it might have been a bit too British.
Please. Bloody sod these guys.
Sod him.
Have you noticed how I can't do a British accent? What the fuck? What is that about? What the fuck is that about?
Because
Sorry.
you're trying to go to the stereotypical Brits, like that's you get portrayed on like TV, like Downton Abbey and all that kind of shit. And you're northern. You're too northern for it.
Too northern. I end up like doing a bad like Australia impression. It's awful. Really, I need to work on it.
I tend to go for, and this is probably slightly obscure, especially for anyone who lives in America, but the IT crowd. That's the kind of accent I tend to go for. It's like, they're having a laugh kind of accent.
You having a laugh, mate?
You catch that ludicrous display last night? That kind of stuff.
I mean, I still can't use sodom in any British way. Yeah. Sodom. So it just doesn't sound right, does it? Oh, bloody sod him, bastard. Anyway.
Rapscallion.
Little scallywag.
Yeah, so I don't know why we got into this. Anyway, is it my time for the news? Did we stop talking? So we kind of spoiled this earlier for those who listened to This Week in Wrestling first. But you know, the opponents for the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Let's go right back. For those who don't know, the revolving door that is Ric Flair's retirement has swung open once again. He's come out of retirement to have one more match this year, and he's going to be partnering up with his son-in-law Andrade El Idolo. And he's going to be taking on his former TNA rival, which is kind of weird to say given the vast age difference, Jay Lethal, and Nashville's own Jeff Jarrett for no reason.
And the crowd went mild.
Yes, it is. Thanks, StarCast, for nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, Carl, you're 10.
I mean,
do you have an opinion on this other than...
I don't want to go into another career assassination of Jeff Jarrett. So I'll keep it brief, shall I? But... yeah, this is...
Carefully. I took the Rick/Jeff news, and you've got the Goldberg news, so I think we've played it carefully so that we both avoid rants.
Yes, indeed. It's almost like that was done on purpose, a tactical decision. But yeah, I think it's underwhelming, isn't it? All the kind of firstly, you probably shouldn't be having this match. He's got some severe health problems, and he's way too old to be even getting in the ring, right? He's Ric Flair. He's a legend. I'm not gonna say anything bad about his career. I've always loved Ric Flair and the legacy that he's got. So I'm not going to shit on the guy.
I do wish he'd stop coming out of retirement.
Well, I was gonna, if you actually look at the poster, it says Ric Flair's last match, and then really small writing it says until his next one. So, so yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, it is going to be his final match. But yeah, interesting that he's obviously teaming up with his son-in-law in Andrade El Idolo. And yeah, Jay Lethal I kind of get from TNA. They had a bit of a rivalry going on where he was basically ripping off Macho Man. They kind of tried to recreate this stuff with Macho Man and Flair from 1992. So yeah, but then Jeff Jarrett, why? Because he's from Nashville. That's the only reason he gets booked anywhere. It's like, do people...
Do we know anyone from Nashville?
Do we know anyone who plays a guitar? Yeah. Jeff Jarrett's probably around here somewhere.
If you want to call it playing.
So
let's go for its talent on the guitar as well.
Yeah, it's underwhelming to say the least. But yeah, it should be taking place on Sunday, July 31st at the Nashville Municipal Auditorium. Sounds like a grand stage, that doesn't it? So we'll see.
Yes, the auditorium.
Did you see the batshit crazy advertisement for this as well? Like they filmed it like some kind of fucking telenovela, really? Shit going on where Ric Flair gets busted open, he's bleeding everywhere, and yeah, it's interesting to say the least. So to be fair, the actual card itself it's got some good matches planned for it. Cross promotional activity going on as well. So.
Thing is, looking at the connection both Jay Lethal and Andrade have to AEW, I feel like this is Ric Flair's last match until he goes to AEW.
Well, he wanted to bring him in, didn't he, a while ago before the controversy? So yeah. WWE. Well, you see, this is interesting. Because WWE have added back in the woo to their signature. If he then goes and signs for AEW, would they be so petty to take it out again?
God, that woo's going to be in and out more than Rick and his career.
I was like, as soon as I said
it could have been a sex reference. As
soon as I said to take it out again, I was like, oh God, no! Don't take it out again. Keep it in.
That sounded nice. Keep it in, Rick.
That's what I'm saying. Don't take it out. Keep it in your pants. Anyway, so let's talk about your favourite, shall we? Mr. Goldberg himself.
That's okay. Why not?
Yeah. So he had a recent interview with the New York Post. And in that interview, he revealed that although he's completed his obligation for the number of matches that he signed for with WWE, he's still actually signed under contract with them. He was quoted as saying, "I'm still waiting for that one call to happen one of these days. But I suppose you never retire in the wrestling world until you're dead. So who knows? I mean, based on your last few performances. I've worked my ass off day after day after day to get to a point where I feel almost normal again. You know, I may never get the call. You never know, but you bet your ass I'll be ready." So, yeah.
Does anybody want him to get the call?
I'm not sure they do, to be fair. I mean, least of all you, I would imagine.
Like, I'll be honest, I'm kind of intrigued, and I actually worry that they're probably not going to do it this way, but I'm kind of intrigued to see him versus Riddle. I feel like it's been in the background for so long that, you know, they should pay that off. I keep seeing clips lately of, like, Goldberg like having a bit of a confrontation with Riddle backstage, where he kind of, like, bumps into him, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, well, I'll see you soon," and stuff like that, and Riddle's just a typical stoner Riddle. He's like, "Okay, cool." And it's like, I know you were trying to intimidate, and this might have been a work, probably was a work, but it just tickles me because it's like big guy trying to intimidate a stoner, and stoner's just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I don't actually know when that was
maybe they'll
from.
pay it off at some point. I think it was the last time he was around for Lashley, to be honest.
Right. I know that basically there was a lot of news, wasn't there, saying that them two just do not like each other. So it'd be interesting just in that regard. But
weirdly, that makes me more of a fan of Riddle. Like, he's gone so over. I don't know how that happened.
yeah,
But
suddenly your new favorite wrestler. I wonder. It's strange, that. Strange.
But no, I don't know. Like, how much more can they do with Goldberg? Like, they bring him in to lose, or they bring him in to ruin people's careers. Like, it's getting unrealistic to that point now, isn't it? Where if he comes in and legitimately wins, then it looks a bit silly on the person who's, like, younger, more athletic, and more in shape. Like, yeah, you know, you got beat down by an old man. Like, which again is why Ric Flair should really stay retired. Are we expecting him to beat Jay Lethal? Well, they've done the sensible thing. I mean, it's tag, so Andrade could do some damage, I suppose.
This is true. This is true.
Anyway, no, I don't want Goldberg in WWE. I hope he never gets the call. No offense.
I do legitimately think there's like a little box in Vince's office. There's like an emergency break glass for Goldberg. So
I like it. The Goldberg button. But maybe he'll come back and fight Theory because, you know, they're Vince guys. They're both Vince guys.
yeah, and you know he'll win and derail the push that they built up this whole time.
He'll win the briefcase just to piss me off.
Yeah.
You know, you can't win the briefcase. It's not a thing.
I do what I want.
He headbutts a door and walks away. Like, okay. See you later then.
Imagine giving Goldberg that briefcase. He'd be headbutting that on the way to the ring. It's consistent.
That would probably be his thing. Honestly, I would sooner Goldberg come back.
Yeah, bloody Goldberg.
Mm-hmm. So that's that's all I have to say on the matter.
Indeed.
So we're moving on to the next, Carl. Or do you have any? How do you feel about Goldberg? Do you love Goldberg?
No.
So moving on to the next one, Carl. AEW's AQA is stepping away from pro wrestling. Now, obviously, for the likes of you and myself, who know her from AEW, this feels a bit sudden. She come from the school of Booker T. She has had a career on the Indies, but again, we don't follow it enough to see that side of it. So she seems to have joined AEW and then so suddenly left. But sadly, and it sounds like she's making the right choice for herself. And I won't read everything. She put a statement on her social media, so for those who want to read the whole thing. But I'll just get to the point of why she's stepping away. And what she said is, "At this time, I've decided to step away from professional wrestling for the immediate future. For the past few years, both mentally and physically, I have not been in a great place with wrestling. And silly me, I kept pushing through because I didn't want to be seen as weak, but it only sucked the fun out of every opportunity I had. I hope during this time I'll be able to reflect deeply and see what path is best for me. Thank you, AEW, for granting me this time. Until I see you again, much love. So, first note I'll say from that is, thank you, AEW, for granting me this time. It sounds like she's not done with AEW. They're just letting her have some time to sort of obviously deal with what's going on. Secondly, I'll note that it's both mentally and physically. So you wonder if she's been working with some sort of injury, but regardless of that, if she needs to take some time for her own mental health and, decide what she wants for her future. I mean, personally, I think she seemed like a really talented wrestler, and it'd be great to see her return. But again, mental health is a big thing, and everyone should only ever do what's best for them. If it's, I think she's made the right call for herself.
Yeah, I mean, based on her comments, it seems like this is something that she's been aware of for a while and has tried to fight through several times, to put it that way. And yeah, she's finally basically removed herself from that situation to give herself some headspace by the looks of it. So yeah.
Well, it's a shame because she said in her comments like she didn't want to be seen as weak, and that's why she's fought it. And that always kind of saddens me. That it's like, looking after yourself is seen as weak.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me because that's all she's doing, isn't it? She's like, it's not a good place for her, so she's looking after herself, and saying, right, I'm going to take the time away and I'm going to reflect on that, and that's nothing but a sensible thing to do. But the mentality, and we've all been there, where you go, no, I don't want to quit, I don't want to be seen as weak, is it can be damaging at times. So I'm glad she's done the right thing for herself.
Well, that's it. I think obviously she was given a really big opportunity, so it sounds like that may have added even more pressure to her, that she, didn't want to let them down, and for giving her that opportunity and stuff like that. But yeah, she needs to put herself first, and she, at the end of the day. So yeah, hopefully we do see her back. She, from what we saw of her quite briefly, she did look, she looked exciting. She looked like something different in the AEW women's division. I think I remember calling out at the time. It was almost like a style that we didn't have too much of in AEW. So yeah, she definitely stood out. So hopefully, yeah, she does. If she decides to come back, that is, hopefully, we do get to see her back, because yeah, she looked good.
Indeed, couldn't agree more.
So the next one, and I think we've got this as our kind of thumbnail title. So excuse it
Naturally,
if it seems clickbaity,
clicks.
but
British wrestling icon, we had to do it.
Well, exactly. So, as we know, Paige was released by WWE a couple of weeks ago, and obviously she held no grudges. She was very thankful for her time, the opportunity she was given, etc., etc. But she basically is gone. She can't use the Paige name anymore, and basically she's still open. So she's accepted a couple of bookings for, conventions and things like that. But her brother, so Zach Zodiac, obviously she's from a wrestling family, as we know, if you've seen Fight With My Family, so the Knights. Her brother, Zach Zodiac, started some initial rumours about her potentially going to AEW. So he posted a couple of graphics on his Twitter of Zach Zodiac and Saraya are All Elite, basically asking fans how would they book their arrival in AEW. And that kind of got a couple of people talking. Off the back of that, Booker T also mentioned on his podcast, I think, that he would love to see Paige headed to AEW also. And ever since that, there's also been some pretty heavy speculation that Tony Khan may have reached out to Paige and actually made her an offer. So it's an interesting one, this, because we don't know the status of, her physical condition. We know that she was unable, or deemed unable, to compete by WWE, which is why we didn't see her in the ring for so long under WWE over the last couple of years. She has said herself that she feels like 1,000%. So whether or not that means she's going to be cleared for any kind of in-ring competition remains to be seen. But I don't know. Do you think there's anything to this? It seems to be making the rounds a little bit now that there may be something in it.
I mean, sadly, it could just be a bit of a tease, couldn't it? Like with the suggestions from Zach, because it's nice to have a bit of fun sometimes with the fans. But we know that, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but we know that the opinion and the caution of the WWE doctors sometimes does differ in that sense. So, is it either realms possibility that they will go, no, she's fine to wrestle, and she could be in AEW, and would she want to do that? I think wrestling's in her blood, isn't it? So I think if she's got the opportunity to, I think she'd go for it. But on a personal level, I think it'd be great to see. I think she had a lot to offer the business, and sadly her time was cut short. So we've seen comebacks similar to her, the likes of Daniel Bryan, the likes of Edge. So again, it's not out of the realms of possibility. Exciting idea. Is it likely? I think at this point, I think it's probably just a tease. I don't think it's likely, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
clickbait.
If it does happen, like there'd be some incredible matchups. We'd have in store for us stuff we've not seen before. Like obviously Paige versus Thunder Rosa, I imagine would be very high on your list. You've got Britt
Paige
Baker.
versus Britt, yeah.
Yeah, Britt Baker's a good. Well, I mean, I don't want to say like a mirror match, but again, you can see some similarities in kind of the physique and the style a little bit as well. So that could be an interesting one.
Honestly,
even
I don't
Serena
know.
Deeb.
I was going to say, have we ever had Paige versus Deeb? I feel like the opportunity's been there in the past, but I don't know if we've ever had it.
I don't think we have, to be fair, no.
That'd be another banger.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's tons on the roster there. Like, even, I don't know, she's quite a polarizing character, but even like Jade Cargill, like, she'd benefit from matches with Paige.
Oh, massively. Like Tony Storm.
Tony Storm, another awesome shout.
Yeah, like Ruby. There's loads. You can get loads of good stuff.
Honestly, let's face it. You could see Paige rocks back up, ends up teaming up with Ruby to take on Thunderstorm. Like we could see that.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I'd love it to happen. Let's be honest, but yeah, kind of agree with you. I don't think if it is going to happen, I don't think it's going to be super soon. I think ultimately it depends on whether she can be cleared. I think obviously if she can be cleared, then AEW would be very interested in her, but I don't think they'd bring her in any other capacity, unfortunately. So,
intriguing stuff. Speaking of people who might return to the ring, Carl. Boy, this one's not got a lot of buzz, has it? Or positivity, should I say. So, Brandi Rhodes has revealed that essentially she's not done with wrestling. So, she told, I believe it was Muscle and Fitness, that she's still in training all of the time. And then she goes to saying, people can connect the dots and make of that what they will. I will tell you, I wouldn't be training and getting beat up just for the hell of it. So obviously I do plan to continue my in-ring career. When and where, that's yet to be seen. But I hope when it does happen, everybody is happy and proud. Now, look, I don't want to shit on this person for like doing something they love. But the response to this has just been so thing because she's never been great in the ring, has she, Brandi? Let's be honest, right? But the response to this has been so like negative that I kind of feel bad for her. If I'm honest with you, it's like she just wants to wrestle. Like she never said she's gonna come back and be awesome at it. Like,
you know what? She gets a lot of shit. I don't think she's as bad as people seem to make her out to be. Like when she was doing some of the stuff with like the Nightmare Sisters and things like that. She was all right, to be fair. You could tell she'd been putting a lot of work in. I think
it's more that she's never going to go down as like a legend in the business as far as wrestling goes. But like you say, I think it's almost a little bit of unfair stick, and she probably gets a little bit of heat just for being a Rhodes because, like, if you don't like Cody and you don't like the ego behind them, then you're probably just naturally not going to like her. What I found interesting about the comment was the, and this may have just been a bit of a tease on her part, but the when and where element of it. So it seems like, is she suggesting it's not a given that she'll be in WWE just because her husband is?
I don't think she will be at all. I think it'll be Impact.
Think it'll be Impact? Because like, are we suggesting that she's totally done with AEW? I know she like, an existing contract, kind of. Well, I don't even know if it was renewed or not. I don't know if they ever really gave a statement about that. But like, she could even do on a per show deal with AEW. It's not necessarily she's necessarily done with them.
No, I mean, so her and Cody didn't renew their contracts with them, so that's not to say that.
Was up to, yeah.
Yeah. So that's not to say that she can't go back there. I don't think she would now that they've left.
It would feel like
not straight away.
Step backwards, wouldn't it, for her? I suppose because she's the first thing she does is go back there would be a bit of an odd one, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think obviously she gave up a lot of stuff in AEW as well, like brand. What the hell was she? She was
chief brandy officer.
Chief brandy officer. So someone else is pouring the brandies now. You know what I mean? So she can't do that when she goes back. Nah, a kid. Obviously, she did fantastic work for AEW. I know, like Amanda Huber's taken up some of, like the work she was doing for like the outreach programs and stuff like that. And obviously, she was instrumental in heels and things like that in AEW. So I think she's gone from that company, and I think that unfortunately means Ring of Honor too. So when you look at the landscape of where she could go, it could be NWA. Obviously, there's a lot of history there with Dusty and the NWA, but I think of the two, it would be Impact or NWA that she would go. I don't think it'd be MLW. I don't think it's WWE. I don't think it's NXT. So,
yeah. No, I think you're right. It's going to be NWA, innit? She's going to rock up. She'll be like, I'm the wife of the grandson of a plumber. Does that work?
I'm far from a common woman. I live in a mansion. Yeah, that kind of thing. So
that kind of thing. So there you go.
But yeah, to be fair, I want it on record. I'm a big fan of Brandi. I think she gets a lot of unfair criticism and shit, and I think she's nowhere near as bad as people make out in the ring. She's put effort in, hard work. All at the end of the day, she was looking really good. You could see improvements, and then obviously she had to take a step away because she fell pregnant. So, if she can pick up where she left off and continue to improve, then I do think she could be decent.
I think she gets a bit of flack because she's been trying to improve since like NXT days, and it's still like, I forgive the term, but she's still mid, right? And I think this is sort of the thing that's why she's getting the stick. But at the end of the day, no one's expecting her to go down in like the records with like being up there with Thunder Rosa or Serena Deeb or WWE being up there with the likes of Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair. No one's expecting that.
I think a lot of the stick she got though was because of her position on the card, as opposed to. I think people do shit on her wrestling ability, but I think it was because she was getting.
Have a big position on the card.
Well,
she was getting forced into title shots and shit like that.
Well, no, but she had that thing with Awesome Kong, and then that had to end, and then she had the thing with the Nightmare Sisters with Ali, didn't she? And then she had something else going on as well. I think she made a comeback, didn't she? And she was starting to get featured, and she was saying she was going after the women's title, and everyone was losing their mind.
Didn't she have a thing with Jade for a bit as well?
Yeah, exactly. So it was going to be it was the Shaq and Jade and Cody and Brandi thing. So yeah, people were getting a bit annoyed with that, but no, fair play to her. I hope she keeps it up, and I think she'll do a good job. And she doesn't, as she says, she doesn't probably need to even do this, but she's doing it because she wants to. So you can't shit on someone for trying to follow the dream, can you?
No. There you go.
American dream.
Going in.
I've not heard about a new TV show actually. I don't think she's doing Shot Brandi anymore. She's doing something else, isn't she?
That's a shame. I enjoyed Shot Brandi.
I did as well. It's a good show.
Indeed.
And so the final piece of news for this week. Fightful Select are reporting that there are tentative plans in place for the one and only Kenny Omega to make his return to AEW this September at All Out. So I think it was spoken about, wasn't it, that they were putting the trios titles on hold until Kenny Omega made his return. So I believe, I'm not sure whether it's Fightful who reported this aspect as well, but essentially when he comes back, he should be part of the trios program, teaming up with the Young Bucks. So that could make sense why they've dropped the tag titles, maybe. Although it does feel a bit, still a bit far out from September, isn't it? But the only problem is who are they gonna feud against now? Like they had it made with Adam Cole and Red Dragon or whatever the fuck they want to call themselves, didn't they? That was the Re-Dragon. Like that was the feud. That was the 3-on-3. That was all the Undisputed Era guys versus the fucking Elite, and it was like all that kind of stuff, and all Bullet Club related, and it was like ooh. And yeah, they're all out injured, aren't they? So I think Kyle O'Reilly's out with an unknown issue, and as we spoke about last week, Adam Cole has got a muscle tear and also some concussion stuff going on. So yeah, obviously timetables and timescale wise, will it be them three, or if not, how do they? Yeah, and like if not, how do they bring them back? I remember we were talking about there was loads of trios and it made sense. I'm now thinking, what trios are left? No, there's not many spring to mind. You've got Death Triangle.
Death Triangle. I mean, I suppose depending on how much you can stretch something out of, like we introduced the trios titles with a feud between like you say, Omega and the Bucks and Death Triangle, and then hopefully within that time, they have some people come back, or even you flesh stuff out and have because they keep hinting at another member of House of Black. Maybe we get another member of House of Black to flesh that out.
We've already got it, haven't we? We've got Brody, Malachi, and Buddy.
Oh fuck! I totally forgot about Buddy.
Where is he? Actually, I'm not seeing Buddy Matthews in ages.
That's probably why I forgot about him. So there you go. So we've got an option there for trios. And let's face it, they've still got best friends and OC as well as an unrealistic option.
Yeah, true.
But there are a few there.
Slightly less impactful than coming back for that feud, though, especially at All Out is their big card, isn't it? So I think in an ideal world that would be the 3v3 that we would get, but yeah, it all depends on the time scale for recovery for all of them, because I don't think at the minute there is time scale, so I'm going to see these back. So you could do something with Blackpool Combat Club, I guess.
Could do.
But yeah, interesting. But I think it'd be cool to see Kenny back. I think they'll bring him. I mean, this would be interesting actually to see how they position the Bucks. Maybe this is why they took the tag titles off them now, is they're gonna reposition them as face, because I think if you bring Kenny back, you're probably gonna do that as a baby face as well. So the Bucks would need to be somewhat.
Yeah, I think given the situation and the time, and I think he does need to come back as a face. To be fair.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I did he was so weird when Kenny, because some weeks he'd come out and he'd kill it as a heel, other weeks you'd be like, what the fuck was that? But yeah, I definitely think he's got all the raw ability to just get over as a face anyway, hasn't he? So yeah, people will be happy to see him. So
nice.
So yeah, that was the news this week. Short and sweet, but we still made the last half an hour. That's what we do. So if you haven't already, check out This Week in Wrestling, where we spoke about everything in WWE and AEW over the last week, and get ready for the debate, where we're going to discuss whether the Attitude Era was the best era. So find out by watching that. And until then, we're going to leave you with Thunder Rosa, who's going to say goodbye.
Hey everybody, this is Thunder Rosa, and you're watching or listening A to the K. A to the K.
A to the K.